Welcome to the Landmark Baseball Podcast. My name is Josh. Over there in California is Neil. It's been another month since we've made
About
a
a month.
podcast, but we're getting there. I'll be in my new apartment soon, so I'll be able to record a bit more consistently, and that'll help out a lot, I think. But Neil, how you doing? It's been a while.
Great. Happy 4th of July, man. Don't think
Yeah,
we said
happy
that yet.
Fourth. It
Yeah, great
passed.
day. Great day of baseball. Trying to see some red hats on my Padres. Look terrible on them, but
Oh
hey,
my God, they're so bad.
Yeah. Hey,
Every
man.
team had a bad
At
one.
least they went into Philly today and won like 8-1.
They
So,
kicked
yeah.
ass in Philly.
Yeah, screw the Phillies. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Orioles. So yesterday, the Orioles had the Fourth of July hats on, and
Mhm.
the jerseys were black, but the hats are like navy blue and like tiger stripes in the O. It was like the
Uh,
ugliest combination I've
yeah.
ever seen. It was awful.
The Yankees they look pretty cool, and the Mets actually look pretty cool too. Uh,
Yankees had red, right?
I think no, theirs was just normal. Like I was looking at Derek Cole's hat today. It was normal, but it had some like New York stuff on the side and like
Yeah, it's
some
like the light version of the clip art hat from a few months ago that everyone shit on.
yeah. And we'll talk like a little bit. We'll go more in depth on the Yankees later, and
What a
RIP
train
Yankees fans. But
wreck.
yeah.
All right, so today we're gonna go through the standings as usual. We're gonna spend a little less time on each team and be like, oh, I think Tampa should be buyers at the deadline. No, we got to have our sticky stuff conversation. There's some other news involved there. I mean, we haven't even had a buy since the enforcement stuff all came out, so that's got to be addressed today. So we will do that. Anything else you can think of, we will throw in there. But probably a quicker episode today. So we will get started in the AL East. It is still Boston on top, Tampa Bay in second, Toronto. Then the Yankees are in fourth place. I don't know the last time that was happening at this point of the year, probably 2015. I don't know. Early 2010s, the Yankees. And then my O's bringing up the rear, last place, run differential negative 114. That is tough. AL Central, the White Sox are still in first place. They got a 6-game lead on Cleveland. Then Detroit has found itself in third place over Royals and the Minnesota Twins, who are 14 and a half games back. It'll be interesting to see what they do at the deadline. Probably sell, but they might be stubborn and not. In the AL West, it's Houston, 3.5-game lead on Oakland, and then it's Seattle, the Angels, then Texas. Seattle and LA are kind of in a closer battle. They're 2 games apart. You'd like to see the Angels take that, especially when Trout comes back. They have a much better run differential. That's anything.
They
That means
actually,
anything.
I think I saw a stat. They definitely have a winning record since Trout has gotten injured. I want to say it's like
Yeah,
21-19 or something
they're
around
slightly
there.
over 500.
Yeah.
The thing with the Angels is if you go through the series that they've played, they beat every team that they're clearly better than, and then lose to every single team that's clearly better than them. It's super interesting. They just fucked up my Orioles, so they're continuing the trend, but then they go see the Dodgers and they get just plowed.
As they should.
Yeah, and then Texas is in fifth place in there, obviously. NL East, the Mets are still on top. I don't get it. Everyone was hurt. Their offense is awful, but the pitching staff's getting it done.
Pitching's really
Atlanta,
good.
yeah, their pitching's insane. It's the averages of all their starters and relievers are they equal a Cy Young pitcher. It's crazy. But then in second place, it's Atlanta. They have a 3.5-game deficit there. They're kind of getting it going, but still missing some key pieces. Their free agency will be very interesting. Deadline, I mean. Then the Nationals have had a comeback little run here behind Kyle Schwarber, who's been insane for them. He's injured now. It'll be interesting to see when he comes back. It's probably going to be a while. That's going to hurt them. Phillies are in fourth. They are only a half game behind the Nationals for third, and the Marlins are bringing up the rear with 9 games back. In the NL Central, the Brewers have quickly become the story of baseball. They won 11 games straight until today. They're the only team in this division with a positive run differential. They're at plus 47. They are followed by Cincinnati, who's 7 games back, the Cubs, who are 8.5 games back. Then St. Louis just can't get it going. They've got a negative, they're less than 500 in their last 30 games or something, significantly. And Pittsburgh, last place there. They have 30 wins this year. And then the NL West, it's kind of getting a little tighter out here, but San Fran remains on top. They're a half game over the Dodgers. San Fran just won against the D-backs tonight. Descalfani goes 8.2 innings pitched. He has been great for them. But yeah, then it's the Dodgers in second place, the San Diego Padres 4.5 games back in third place, and it's the Rockies and Diamondbacks bringing up the rear. Diamondbacks are 31.5 games out. Tough.
Hey
The
man.
run differentials,
Yeah.
the run differentials at the top of this one are insane. Giants are plus 106, Dodgers plus 121, San Diego Padres plus 86. So that's your standings right now as of July 4th, and not a lot has changed over the last month. That NL West is still kind of a hot topic. The Brewers have kind of taken their leap in the Central. The Mets remain on top. Boston's still doing it. Is there anywhere you want to start here?
Um, I just we didn't talk about the Central a little bit. It seems like the Brewers have kind of solidified themselves as the dominant team, but again, it's a long season. We're only halfway through. We're just getting to the All-Star break, so you never know. But the Cardinals minus 41 run diff. That does not look good for them, especially with that offense. I know their pitching is probably what's causing that, but yeah, not too great for them.
I saw
Cubs
something
also
about
have
them like,
regressed a lot, it looks like. The
yeah,
9-game losing streak.
that's tough.
That's tough.
Um,
But I never thought they had it
yeah,
all
the
year.
Brewers.
But,
No, they were supposed to be bad, but then
yeah.
they kind of gave you a little glimmer of hope. But the
Yeah,
Brewers,
Cubs are supposed to be bad.
they have been the story of baseball this last week here. Like I said, 11 games straight. They're really fun to watch. Willie Adames went over there from the Rays in that trade a couple weeks ago, and he's just been insane there. He said he couldn't see the ball in Tampa Bay. He comes over to Milwaukee. He's one of the best hitting shortstops in baseball. All of a sudden, their entire lineup, top to bottom, is not a fun one to face. It's just a constant barrage. It's these guys that aren't like stars besides Yelich, but then it's just like all these slightly above replacement level players that just kind of beat you down, and the pitching staff just gets it done every single time they go out there. And what's jarring to me is their win percentage against teams that's like over 500. So all the good teams, they're 21-11. That is better than the Dodgers. That is better than the Giants. That is better than the Mets, I
Better
believe.
than everyone. It has to be better than everyone. I
I
don't
think
know.
it's the best in baseball.
Yeah.
Houston's played a lot of those games. They're 39-19 against those kind of teams. But yeah, outside of that, it's pretty much the Brewers on top there.
But I would
Boston's
say
28-19.
Houston's teams are weaker because there's like more fake, like teams in the AL. Like maybe like if they beat the Yankees or something, or like you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like there's probably some
There's
teams
only
hovering.
2 really bad teams in the NL. There's like 5 really bad teams in the AL.
Right, but the thing about I was trying to say about the teams with winning records is even with the teams with winning records aren't that good because
Oh yeah, right.
they're playing a lot of these bad teams. But yeah, about that, I was thinking about that like the other day. Like the worst teams in the NL are like the Marlins and the Pirates, and the Pirates are sending like their second baseman to be the starting all-star, and the Marlins are not a team you want to face. They're not they're
Their
not a
staff can easily cut down like a
right. The
good
worst
lineup.
team is definitely like the Diamondbacks, but like
They got nothing, man.
yeah, but it's still like it's not a fun division, so that's why I'd say I respect the Brewers more than you're comparing them to the Astros, I guess, in that regard.
And like with a lot of not big names, that's crazy because like
Right.
baseball, we're kind of in this level of like stardom. Like the Brewers, the Braves got like Acuna and they got Freeman and they got Max Fried's kind of a opening star. Ozzy Albies is over there and Dansby Swanson, and that's like a star power lineup, and they can't get it done. But the Brewers are out here with Yelich at the lead and Avisayo Garcia and like Luis Urias, my boy. He's leading off for them lately, so that's fun to watch for him. He had like a 5-hit game the other day.
Speaking of second baseman, we'll talk about that later, I guess.
All right, we can bring up the Yankees because I think that's probably the biggest storyline. Not only because they're a big market team, but because they had expectations. And Yankees, since sticky stuff happened, the sticky stuff enforcement, Cole and Chapman have been like the biggest I don't know, regression. I saw it when I was at B-Dubs today. They had like the ERAs up there since June started. Cole is at like a 5 point something. Chapman's at like a 14.5 for his ERA. That's never. This is unprecedented. We've never seen him go through these kind of streaks. He gave up the game tying grand slam to Jared Walsh the other day. Angels go on to win it, and they just showed him in the dugout, and he was just a beaten down, broken man. And then it's kind of sad to watch. They showed like a whole minute and a half of him in that inning, just head down, sweat dripping off his hat. And yeah, it was a tough loss for the Yanks, but I don't hate to see it.
I mean, yeah, I don't hate to see it either. It's kind of fun to see. I mean, just because like I just we're not obviously we're not Yankees fans. We're just on the outside looking in, and you're an Orioles fan, so you definitely hate them. But yeah, it's kind of crazy too because we both picked them to win the division, and it seemed like they were because all these players seemed great, but all of a sudden DJ LeMahieu, not doing what he's supposed to. Judge is doing good. Stanton in and out of the lineup. They had some other injuries here and there. Their pitching, it turned out to be a bunch of coin flips. And then once Garrett Cole lost his his
His special
his
stuff.
special stuff. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Before, are we talking about the sticky stuff still, or the Yankees, or like
It's
both?
still Yankees. We'll do sticky
Okay.
stuff in a minute.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was going to talk more about Houston and that because it seemed like they had a huge pioneering in this, but yeah, Garrett Cole not doing too well, and yeah, here we are. Yankees not going to make the playoffs. Not even a top three team in their division. It looks like at this point. And who knows? Like I mean, I don't think they're gonna win it, but yeah, when I was talking about top three, like who knows? They might come back, but yeah, still you don't want to be you don't want to be the second best team, like still and not make it. It's not.
If they don't get a wild card spot, man, like
It's bad.
that last week of the season is going to be insane if they can even get to that point where they're like still kind of making it a challenge. But the Yankees missed the playoffs in this window
Payroll,
they're in. Everyone thought this was the window. The Yankees had the pieces. Just the way this roster's been constructed and the way they've been like
poor,
managing it, like they don't play healthy guys. Like Aaron Judge, he's got like these little freak injuries every now and then, but they'll play
right?
him for like a series. He'll get hot, and then like they'll bench him for 4 games. And I don't get that, but you can't build a roster specifically around hitting, and then like once you're not hitting, your team has nothing. They don't want to play defense. They don't play defense. Their pitching, like you said, has been a coin flip all year. Garrett Cole, their two best pitchers, Cole and Chapman, can't even get through an inning. Seems like now, at least Chapman, but he blew another save today. Not a save, but he came in like the seventh,
No, it was
like
a
a tie
save.
game.
It was a
Oh, it was a
makeup game.
doubleheader. Yeah,
Was it a doubleheader?
yeah, I remember it said game one, but yeah, he comes in a safe situation. The Mets put up like a 6 spot on him in that inning. Yeah, just not a lot going right for the Yankees right now. They just acquired Tim LeCastro from the
Yeah,
Diamondbacks,
I
if that
saw
means
that.
anything to anybody.
Second fastest player behind Jorge Mateo. So it is good for them. They did need some outfielders because their outfield was a joke. Before
Well, Hicks was injured. They were playing Aaron Judge in center field,
they were
biggest
playing
center
Judge
fielder
in
ever.
center field. They were playing in Duhar, who's an infielder, in like left field, and like Frazier and like
Frazier's hurt.
Tyler
Hicks is out
Wade.
for the year. Voigt can't get healthy. Um,
Yeah.
Kluber's out till I think August, maybe late August. And I mean, not a lot's gone right for them, but they're also not really showing any fight whatsoever. And like I said, I don't hate to see it. Did you see the interviews that Cole did before the sticky stuff enforcement? Like they'd put him in front of the media and
Oh
he'd be
yeah,
like,
I saw the scene.
those are the
Yeah.
worst interviews I've ever seen. Like a player who clearly had no idea he was getting asked that question, even though he definitely should have known he was getting asked that question.
hmm Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough spot to be in. But I mean, hey, like he makes like what, like $36 million a year. He's the first pitcher ever to make that much. And the Yankees, I mean, this is kind of their money backfiring at them. They were the only team that was able to give him that much. And now it's kind of like, oh my God, like we're gonna be paying this guy like close to $40 million a year, and if he's not gonna be able to use,
For a
his
long
secret
time.
weapon, like what is this? Like what have we done? What is this hole we've dug ourselves into? And the fact is, there's a good chance, it looks like they're not going to make the playoffs this year, and they have the second highest payroll in baseball behind the Dodgers, but they're not even close to the Dodgers. They're not even close to the next top 10 teams with payroll. I'm sure yeah, like I don't know. I'd have to look at the payroll thing, but it's probably not very good. If we were to pull it up right now, let's do. I'm gonna do that actually because I want to
Okay.
name off are how many teams you'd have to go to find a team that's like
Worse
worse
than
than
them.
the Yankees. Yeah,
Well, I'm
because
looking at it right now. I already know Cleveland's payroll. I just know it's like super low. It's like 35, $40 million.
and they're
And
and they're better.
Cleveland currently has a better win percentage than the Yankees. They're 42-39. The Yankees are 42-41. And Cleveland's not even trying this year. And they are currently in a position to get a wild card, I believe.
Right. The
No, they're
Rays.
not. But
The
Cleveland could
Rays.
be one of those team that sneaks in there. But yeah, the Rays, Toronto is better than them right now. Rays,
So
have no payroll.
so last year it was bad because a team with a quarter of the payroll beat them in the playoffs. But you could say, that's a BS. Playoffs are a crapshoot. It's a freaking, whatever, 5, 7 game series. Like anyone can win if you're
And
hot.
Tampa's Tampa.
But now it's a whole. We're at halfway through of a 162 game season. A team with the 26th payroll. Are they still leading the division, or is it the Red Sox? I'm pretty sure it's the Rays, right?
Red Sox are on top of it right
Oh,
now.
wait, they are. Okay,
But
yeah.
Tampa's right behind them. They're 4.5 back.
Okay, yeah, so they're close. So yeah, but this is still it's sad. The Brewers 21, the Reds 17, like payroll wise. I mean, the Giants 12. Look at what they've done, and they're a perfect example.
They're
Could
not
be
even trying this year.
spending. Yeah, they could be spending more, but I mean, they're not. So I mean, yeah, exactly. They're not even
And
trying, like you said.
after next year, the Giants don't have anyone on the books besides like, I don't know. They have like one player on the books after next year, and that's like, they're clearly like positioned themselves to where the rebuild's going to happen. But this is just such a fluke that like it's just unprecedented. And I mean, the Yankees are supposed to be in their playoff window. Here we are. We have teams like the Giants who are just trying to get through their rebuild, and they're out here with the 53 wins at the halfway mark, and just tough times in New York, man.
Very tough, and it's a shame that they're not developing players like, I mean, a good team should be. It seems like when you watch the Dodgers, there's always, someone new every year who's, coming onto the scene, and it's like, oh wow, like look at like, I mean, it's just amazing what they do, how they produce players. But I mean, they're not the only team like that. There's a bunch of others. I mean, look at my Padres, what they did. I mean, look at the Braves. I mean, there's teams everywhere. You can identify pieces, trade for them, which the Yankees, you could say they have done. They did, identify some pieces, make some good trades here and there. But at the same time, it was a majority of, oh, we have all this money. It was kind of like an arrogance, and like it's totally backfired now because they've gotten themselves into some really bad deals that they didn't think, would be this bad. Like it all made sense at the time, but then as everything adds up, you're in a position where you are now, where this is your team, and you thought you built it up right, but you have 26 guys and you're not happy with, 13
Most
of
of
them or
them.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 20 of them, honestly, for being real.
The point I meant to make earlier, I totally forgot like mid sentence, but so the Giants don't have anyone on the playbook on the books after next year. The Yankees, however, like LeMahieu just signed like a 6-year deal. Cole's on the books for like another 8 years, and
Stanton.
Stanton's on the books for another like 7 years, and like those are going to be ugly contracts at the end of that. Like it's not going to be good if it's already kind of like. I'm not saying this is a failure by any means. DJ LeMahieu's a very good player. Stanton's a very good player. Cole's a very good pitcher, but I mean, that's not going to look good at 40. They knew that when they signed the deal. But if it doesn't look good now, it's tough, man. That's when you don't develop anything in your farm system, when you completely neglect the farm system and your minor league depth, you have left yourself nothing to fall back on. And we're kind of seeing that with the Yankees where they can't field a major league center fielder.
But also their player development hasn't been too great. It seems they developed Judge and Sanchez a while ago, when they were the baby boomers or whatever they were called, like the young Yankee. That's what they called them. Or the
The Bronx
baby
Bombers
bombers.
or
The
Baby
baby
Bombers.
bombers. That's what they
Yeah.
were called, not boomers. Well, they're called baby bombers. Yeah, but after that, it really hasn't been much. Like Voit, they stole from the Cardinals. That seemed to be a pretty good
Clint
trade.
Frazier's from the Indians. Hicks
Right,
is
but
from the Twins. They
Frazier
LeMahieu
spent
from the Rockies.
Frazier spent some time in their farm system, and they haven't developed him well at all. There's a bunch of other guys, Andujar, Torres got worse, and Torres was a guy they stole. You could say, oh, Brian
From the
Cashman is a
Cubs, yeah.
genius, but it's like, yeah, dude, like obviously, it was a no-brainer at the time because they knew they were just gonna pay Chapman, they were just gonna trade him and then sign him back, so it was easy to get Torres for them. But then at the same time, they didn't develop him at all. He got worse. Like I said, he hasn't. He had his,
He's been bad this year.
no, his best year had to be his rookie year. I'm like his rookie year, he was
Oh
so
yeah.
good. He was looking like the star of the future. And what happened to him? It's sad. He's not doing too great at all.
He was
And
in the
then,
same conversation as like Acuna, Tatis, and Soto for
well,
like
he
a
was
little bit there.
there was, you're right, because like I think he was like a year or two before Tatis, but still like I remember he was the guy. Like now Tatis is the guy, but there was a time where it was like supposed to be Glaber. But yeah, I sound all sad now. I sound like
So
a
here's
depressed Yankees
his
fan. I'm not.
here's his rolling OPS plus. His rookie year, he played 123 games, 122 OPS plus. It's his 21-year-old rookie All Star. 2019, 22 years old, played 144 games, 127 OPS plus. So he got
Right,
better there.
got
And
better.
then 2020 drops down to 102 OPS plus, and then 2021 he's hitting at a 79 OPS plus right now, and we're halfway through the year. He has 3 home runs in 71 games. That's not the Glaber we've seen. That is, yeah. This is a guy who hit 38 home runs in 2019. That's quite the drop off, and the Yankees could desperately use that. And with this upcoming shortstop free agent class, you wonder if they're going to be hesitant to sign them for a long-term deal because they already have so many other ones. Because like Seager's available, Story's available, Baez is available, Correa is going to be available, and I just don't know if they are able to offer the years. It's going to be tough to tell because I don't know if Cashman's going to be so into that with the current contract statuses.
Just I don't know. I could like talk about this forever. I don't know. It's so hard to just hit the reset button though. That's where they're at. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place because I'm sure there's definitely been some thoughts about hitting a reset button, because especially with it kind of all revolves around Aaron Judge because they're gonna have to pay him pretty soon also. But
Pay him or let him go.
it's
And
also like, do you want to give him that much money despite these, injuries he's having? Like you said earlier, like these like random like freak injuries, which are like not. They seem like the Yankees fans will defend it and say like, oh, like it was a freak injury, like that could have happened to anyone. Like, oh, it was a hit by pitch, he can't control it. But it's like it's just such a consistent thing with him, and you don't want to give those players like that much money. Well, God damn it.
because they're resting him or making sure he's not injured or whatever. But yeah, and then he gets those freak injuries.
All right, are we good now? I froze for a little bit, I think.
Yeah, we're good. I got the Yankees vent off. I think we've
Okay.
we've covered a lot of the other teams before, and I don't think much has changed with a lot of them. Just this trade deadline is going to be very interesting. A lot of teams are going to need pitching, and there's not a ton of pitching to go around, so it'll be interesting to see what teams end up with, like guys like Kyle Gibson who have had insane years, and Kevin Gossman if the Giants decide to sell, and just guys like that. See if the Nationals are in sell mode. Cubs,
That's
they're all in
crazy.
there.
That's totally a possibility. Giants could totally sell. And that's like kind of recommended, right? Because I mean, they're not going to win it all. Is that
I
like
don't think they have the pieces because like it's just a bunch of old men. Like Evan Longoria, Buster Posey is the starting catcher in the All Star game. That's weird, man. This is not 2012. Brandon Crawford's one of the best shortstops in baseball right now. Mike Yastrzemski, former minor league bust, grandson of Carl Yastrzemski, is one of their best hitters, and they got it going, man. In all facets, they're a
but at
great
the same time,
defensive
that's
team. They're
what
great.
makes it more intriguing to sell, is because that's what makes the best prospects is or best pieces is someone who's for the team that's trading it, like is someone who's just
They're at the
doing good
highest
that
values they're ever gonna be.
right, exactly. And someone who has like not much potential, but they're showing a lot of potential, and like you're kind of fooling the team, and like it's a gamble on both sides. But yeah, I
All
think
right, we can be done with the teams, but like June 21st is the start of it. They gave them like 3 days notice. They said like, hey, checked and stuff like that. And this has been a problem in baseball for longer than we know. Since we've been able to track spin rates, it's only gotten worse. And I mean, guys, the Orioles are privileged to have a guy like Jim Palmer in the broadcast booth, Hall of Fame pitcher, long timer. He defends the pitchers a lot of the time when it comes to this stuff. But They even say like sunscreen and rosin is something that most, because they're like plastic baseballs, like they just slip out of your hand. We saw Glass now get injured because his body's not used to throwing those slippery balls. He should tough. Yeah, so I think it was like June 21st. They said anyone caught using like spider tack or foreign substance will get 10 games, lose a pitcher. You're still getting paid, but like you can't do anything, and I don't think it's appealable, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a pretty big change, and this is something like, the MLB has had the rules in place where it's like, you're not supposed to use foreign substances, but every team does, so no one gets checked. So we have this problem where guys can throw 94-mile-an-hour sliders in. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, right now it's kind of choppy, but I will say it's definitely interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, like I don't know whose end it is, but it's like
It's probably my end. It's
you were
always my
frozen
end.
for a sec, so I was like kind of concerned. But yeah, I saw a video actually of Trevor Bauer. Who knows when it was recorded, but he appeared to be he was pretty much putting spider tack on his glove and like just putting it in his pocket like before a game, and it was kind of weird just to like see that. So I mean, I think it's I don't know. I think it's definitely Jedi dust because it appeared that the players were getting way too arrogant. But I guess that's what Trevor Bauer wanted for
So
the
like if
like
you
the longest
watch
time.
Yeah, if
Oh,
you watch, you saw Luis Gonzalez of the Dodgers clearly had like a brown like streak right in the middle of his hat, and every single pitch you go right to it. Like they weren't even hiding it, and MLB didn't care. They weren't doing anything about it. But yeah, it needed to happen. I just think it's very suspect that the year before we do the CBA, that's coming up this off season, they decided to just throw this rule in there, and then with CBA, the MLB is going to want the players to be as divided as possible, so they have the most leverage. And if the players union isn't united, they might not strike as easily, which is possible, very possible this off season. That'll be sad, but yeah, I don't agree with the timing of it. I think it needed to be addressed in the off season.
okay,
We're
okay.
back. Okay, cool.
I don't even know. Just like it's hard to. All right, we're back. Technical difficulties seem to be over. So we're talking about the players union and the a possible strike happening amongst when the CBA comes about. And something I heard was that people were pissed about the MLB deadening the balls right before there was a bunch of marquee free agents, like or not Tatis, like Correa, Cedar, Story, all
Yeah,
those
Pete
dudes.
Alonso came out and said that.
Right, and he it seemed like kind of sus, but now it seems they've came and done the opposite. Now they're favoring the hitters by taking away the pitchers control substances. So it's like I don't know which is it, and it kind of like negate. It kind of makes me think Pete Alonso was wrong about his point, and it's just like paranoia. And then honestly, the MLB is just poorly run, and they don't know what the hell they're doing at all. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
I've said it on this pod before. I think the MLB is the worst run out of the four major sports. I mean, people hate what's his name that runs the
Roger
NFL,
Goodell.
Roger Goodell. People hate
Yeah,
him, but
people hate him. Yeah.
Rob Manfred is the worst. This is the most poorly run major sports league in all of America. And yeah, as for the Pete Alonso comments, I mean, at the time, I thought it was like maybe held some
It was
sort of value
interesting.
or truth. Is very interesting. We've
Yeah.
never heard anything said like that before. And he said like the players were convinced that that was happening. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't put it past the MLB, but I just I don't think
And,
that's
like,
I need to see more before I can be
right.
like, yeah, I think this is a significant problem. But yeah, like you said, then they add this hindrance on pitching, and yeah, I mean, those two things don't really line up. I don't know if maybe they sacrificed the free agency thing for um, just to have
It
the
just seems like
players
they don't
split
know what
up.
they're doing. It really does. Like that's
Yeah,
just
there's
like
no
yeah,
direction.
exactly.
So there's actually this story from a few years ago. Yu Darvish, he came from, I think it was Japan, and I played in those leagues over there, and they actually have already pre-sticky balls, so it's like regulated, how it should be. That's how it should have been before 2019 with the super balls. But yeah, they're already like regulated, they're sticky already, and he's passing them out to his fellow pitchers, and they're liking that a lot. And yeah, it's just, I don't know why the MLB couldn't think of something like that, where we've had this problem going on for so long. And the Japanese league got their shit together and said, okay, let's make a ball that is good for both, because the pitchers know what they're throwing, they're comfortable with it, plus it gives them the benefit of that extra little stick that maybe regulation balls don't give you. But hitters also know it's there, it's out in the open. This is finally coming out in the open, but the public wasn't aware of it really. And I think a lot of the hitters were kind of caught off guard by the entire concept. And it's just bad press, man. And the MLB has been horrible with that over the last, I don't know, year and a half, since the labor negotiations last year. But just gotta get their shit together, man.
We've seen also a huge spin rate reduction, and it was kind of cool to see these ridiculous, like you said, like these like Super Bowl, like I don't even know what to call them, but like just the amount of spin, like in RPMs, like people were getting on their curveballs and fastballs at 100. It was just ridiculous. And I will say this: the team that had the biggest reduction in spin rate was the Dodgers. So their
Yeah,
four starters: Trevor Bauer, Kershaw, Urias, and
Bueller.
who Bueller had they were four of the top 10
Wow.
biggest reduction in spin rates. And not like in any order, but they were of the four. And then no other team, like there was like some other guys here and there from every team. Obviously Derek Cole was in there. I think someone on the Astros was in there, someone on the Angels. I think it was whoever their closer is, Raisel Iglesias on the
Yeah, he was
Angels.
in there. He's one of the
Yeah,
bigger
and
offenders.
then so I mean, like, hey, that's different for me. I'm a Padres fan. It looks like the Dodgers are regressing, but still, like, that's like a pretty bad look for them considering that's
So
their
I want to
four big
ask you
guys.
this. I want to ask you this. So I don't know how often you watch Padres games, like maybe a couple times a week. Is that
Yeah.
fair?
Hmm.
Okay, so I watch pretty much every Orioles game, and Paul Fry was our lockdown closer for the last probably 2 months. And as soon as the sticky stuff regulation happened, he can't find the strike zone. He's blowing saves left and right. His velocity's down. I haven't checked his spin rates because I'm not entirely sure how to get to that page on Baseball Savant. But yeah, that's just the one case where I can physically see like a stark difference. That's not just numbers on a page. I can see that he doesn't have control. I can see that he's hittable now and his high fastball isn't as good. I was wondering if you had maybe seen like a specific pitcher or something like that where like a guy just is a completely different pitcher than he was before the regulations.
Mark Melanson, our closer.
Really?
He's yeah, he's it seems like he's been blowing more saves. And the thing is it's hard that you say that because like I was watching his like pitch style and mechanics before, and honestly before I thought he was getting pretty lucky. Like there was a lot of balls in the zone, a lot of like ground outs. But he was getting strikeouts here and there. His curveball was pretty nice, but yeah, it seems it's tough to say though. That's why it's really hard for me to answer your question because he
It's a
has
small sample size.
it's a small sample size, and he specifically in this last couple of like games I've watched has inherited a lot of bad like situations, and it's a lot of ghost runners, runner at second base to start the inning, and when you blow a save like that, it's kind of hard. And then I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like you could think about. I'm gonna do that though. I'm gonna watch the games more, but if anything, I swear the Padres, it appears that they honestly didn't rely on that stuff that much. Just Darvish doesn't seem to have lost his stuff. Snell actually looks better somehow. So thank the
I
universe.
would say
Snell
the
was really pissing
Padres,
me off.
yeah, they're not as bad off because like Lamet's really your only like super hard thrower. Like Darvish doesn't throw 99, does he?
Oh well, no, but it was mainly like it was I guess it was the guys who throw hard too, but yeah, no, I just well, Kershaw doesn't really throw hard necessarily, but he had a huge
No,
reduction in spin rate
guys like
too.
Greinke, they don't really, their fastball isn't
Right.
more than 91 miles an hour, and they go as low as like 76 sometimes. Like those guys, you're typically not going to see like a
Right,
big
but
drop
I'm
in
saying it
spin
wasn't.
rate.
I wasn't only guys who throw hard like with the sticky stuff that have like lost it. Like because that's what I was trying to say is like I don't think they used it that much before. Like I definitely noticed it like Craig Stammen, one of our relievers. It was pretty obvious. But
Those
I don't
guys that
know.
have been around a while.
Yeah, and Darvish, even though like he pitched in, they had it in Japan, it seems like he's more comfortable, now than ever. And it's nice for the offense. I mean, I can tell you, it seems like their offense has been going a lot better. I can't tell if it's because it's summer or because they finally seem to figure things out. But I guess the pitching has been more shaky. I will say the bullpen as a whole has been slightly more concerning, and this was the first month it kind of appeared that way, and it made sense now it happened because before they were just stellar. Like the Padres bullpen was lights out.
Lockdown, yeah.
Right, but before now, like it's not like everyone's coming in and doing their job. So like you'll have, it's not. I can't really throw one name out there and be like, oh, this guy has, he's totally noticed it. He's awful now. But it generally feels like overall there has been like like a lessening of the bullpen, I guess, if you will. And then it may be attributed to that, or it may just be. It probably is attributed to that, but it's also partly to that they've been so good all year, and that it's not. They're human too, just like everyone else. And most bullpens are not going to have a 3.5 ERA around that. They're going to be like something over. So I to answer your question, like I have seen it, just not in a specific player, like maybe
Right.
Melanson.
Like it was just so obvious with Paul Fry. He's a left. Oh, you don't know. I don't know if
I know Paul
anyone outside of
Fry.
you do know Paul
Yeah,
Fry.
yeah.
Yeah, he's not a guy that walks a lot of people, and he's throwing like he threw like 3 pitches in one inning in like multiple outings that were just like 6 feet off the strike zone, and that's just not like what we see. And it was just very obvious that he was not getting a good grip on the ball, and yeah, a couple blown saves in there. But we are seeing this across baseball, where like bullpens are having a harder
Yeah.
time locking down games. We talked about Chapman already, and
Chapman
like
and Cole, that's the great example right
yeah,
there.
yeah, just a
Yeah.
lot of the league's adjusting, and I think it'll get better because this kind of got thrown on all the players. Like they had a week to prepare. I think Glass now said in his interview after he got hurt, talking about like, yeah, my last start I didn't use it. I used like he went dry, and he just said it's like throwing. I forget what he used to describe it, but it's just super slippery. And then in his next start he got hurt because he had to go another start without it. And these guys' arms aren't used to having to tight grip the ball that tight. I don't know how used you are to having like new baseballs. But yeah, I have like MLB baseballs up here, and they're a lot slipperier, more slippery than like the ones I played with in high school. And that shouldn't happen.
I have a ball here. This is an official ball, but it's obviously you can see all the dirt on it, so it's not exactly.
But like, look at the shine on that. Like that's not what I don't know. You don't grow up with like those super shiny baseballs like that. That's like plastic. Like it's a worse quality. Like I even noticed this when I was like a 10-year-old kid. Like that's a worse quality baseball than like even the minor league balls. It's a different
Really?
baseball. Actually, minor league balls up here too. Like the stitches are tighter on the major league balls, and the minor league ones are a lot closer to like what I use in high school. This is an international league ball. This like you probably can't tell the lighting's not great here, but I don't know. It's just it feels like a better hold than the major league ones.
Right.
This isn't scientific or anything, but
No,
it's interesting.
what I was gonna say also is yeah, what do people, you're saying players have to adjust, but what do people do who have made a career off of this stuff, like Garrett Cole, who was a nobody. Well, he was good on the Pirates. He showed some
He was a first
potential.
overall pick.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a nobody, but he was becoming that on the Pirates. He wasn't that good. Like he wasn't that guy. He showed flashes, but he wasn't who he was on Houston. Who everyone fell in love with, and you know, he obviously was good on the Yankees too before all of this stuff. And I mean, it's kind of obvious, like guys who went to Houston, like look at Charlie Morton, look at Verlander. Even though he was really good, he was definitely regressing. And then him and Morton and Cole all go to Houston. And all of a sudden, no, they're all winning. They're all competing for Cy Youngs. Like, I
Their
wonder what
careers are
happened.
revamped.
Yeah, and then I mean, yeah, what I was trying to say is, yeah, what does someone like Garrett Cole do? Like, it's not like Tyler Glasnow was saying, like, oh, he needs more time to prepare, or like you were saying about someone like Tyler Glasnow. Like, what does Garrett Cole do? He is nothing. He has no fallback plan. He's not. This is how he got his $300 million contract, and it seems to. be the Yankees' problem now, but I'm sure Garrett Cole isn't going to be too happy giving up 5 earned runs, maybe even getting, you know, booed a lot more than one time. So
Yeah, it's interesting. Like obviously, like you said, Cole isn't the only one, but and Cole's still a great pitcher. He was before that. He obviously got drafted first overall, so people teams saw something in him. But
right.
he's definitely wouldn't be as dominant without this stuff, and it's kind of starting to show this year that he is in fact mortal. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago when he was on Houston, but he went like 18 starts without a loss in like
That was his last year. Yeah.
yeah, and wins and losses don't really matter, but like to win 18 in a row, I mean that's really special, and just him losing that dominance makes him not worth
So
that
I
300
remember
million
watching
dollars.
him in the playoffs against the Rays. It was like, oh my God, like that was like some of the best pitching I've ever seen. It was so cool to watch. But
Like he just had command over the game. He could put the ball wherever he wanted, and I mean we haven't really seen
and he was
that
just giving the
since
Rays
sticky stuff was
nothing.
gone.
Like every time the Rays got on base, they were like, "Oh, we have to steal here because we might not have another chance to score." If we did a single, and
Like if you get a
yeah,
base runner on, you hope and pray that like a bloop single falls somewhere, but you have to be on second base when it happens. Like I mean, he's just it was without mercy, and him losing that level of dominance definitely hurts his career, and he definitely wouldn't get $300 million with that kind of reputation change. And I mean, he's just gonna have to adjust, and this kind of thing was coming if he wasn't preparing for it before this, and I can't really help you, man. Like he did sound really sad in his interviews, like he like close to tears. if you can
he
if you can tell in his voice.
in
But
the first of the two Yankees Mets doubleheaders of today, he looked pretty good until like I want to say the fourth inning when he gave up. It became like a 4-3 game. He gave up 2 more runs
third
because
time
before.
through the order.
Yeah, around there. But and that's typically, when most pitchers start struggling, statistically according to the OPS. But at the same time, we've seen him go complete games and
He's different. Yeah, he should be able to survive that
right.
fourth inning where he sees the guy for the third time.
But what I was trying to say is he had his stuff before that. He was throwing 100 at the top of the zone. He had a nasty strikeout on Alonso, 100 top of the zone to get out of the inning prior. It was pretty cool. His slider at times looked like, or yeah, I think he throws a slider. I don't know what it is. His off speed is, but it looked nasty at times. But then all of a sudden, here he is just giving up like 3 runs in a game, and they were not too happy about that. And only in 4 innings too. So not too great. I just what I was trying to say is he is. I don't know. Just continue on. I'll try. I'll try to
Let's
think
give
of it
credit to
later.
guys like Jacob DeGrom, whose spin rates did not go down. All his teammates rushed to his aid when people were like, "I think DeGrom's using stuff," and hell, his teammates rushed to his aid and were like, "No, that guy doesn't use anything. That guy's insane." And the umpires checked him. He's clean. He's still as dominant as he was. And yeah, big shout out to Jacob DeGrom for doing it for a long time now, at a very high level. And
What
if
about
anyone's deserving of that contract, it's probably DeGrom.
Otani? You think he uses? He had a bad start in the Yankee Stadium pretty
I don't know.
recently.
I don't think his sample size as a pitcher in America is like large
I
enough.
think he needs
Like
to
I
stop
haven't checked the
pitching.
spin
Also,
rates. I don't.
I
I
think
think
he
he
just
should be
needs.
like a reliever
I
role.
just think he needs to become a position player.
He just is bad at defense. He's like strictly a DH. So like his most values as a pitcher who also hits. But I definitely get it. Like he'd be so much better if he focused on like one thing too. Even though he's like leading baseball in home runs. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
but
It's not a hot take.
yeah, I don't know. I had some questions about Otani, but I just had to ask you that later. But yeah, is there
Like his
anything?
pitching stats have been like good, but they haven't been like elite. I don't think. Like the
Well,
Angels of all teams need pitching,
what I was gonna
but
ask is like what happens if he is a reliever? Then like are you like how does that work? Is he just random nights you're gonna put him in the bullpen and he's not gonna be a position player? Or like
so it'd kind of be like a double switch. They would probably like say he plays
okay, so
left
he would
field
play. Okay,
or
no, that's what I
something.
was wondering. That would be cool. So he would play like left field, and then they would bring him in as the new pitcher, and
They
then
would
they
like move the pitcher to left field and then sub the pitcher for someone, but
right,
he's moved to that position. I think you're
right.
allowed to do that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But
His numbers are insane this year. So like I don't know if you've been keeping up. It kind of sucks that Schwarber got hurt, but the home run race this year, it's still early, of course.
Oh,
But
you know my boy's in it. Of course, I'm keeping up with the home run race.
oh my gosh, yeah, Otani's at 30 right now. That is the lead. I don't know what Tatis is at 27.
27, but he's also played he's been hurt,
He's
so
played less games. Yeah, Vlad
yeah.
Jr.'s in there. Schwarber was in there before he got hurt. There's a couple other guys in that mix, and I don't want to say it's like the 98 or the 1998 home run race like a McGuire and Sosa, who did in fact break the record. Otani's not projected to do that, but
No, just
uh,
because they
it's
didn't have
still
Barry
really fun.
Bonds. But yeah,
Yeah, it's still really fun, and it'll be fun to watch all year. It should be those guys. It's a very good group of talent, and yeah, it'll be fun. Otani, Guerrero Jr., who is breakout season. He's been everything everyone wanted. It's also Otani's birthday today. Happy birthday.
happy birthday, Shohei. If you're watching
27 years
this,
old. He's not.
Kevin. He's not. How old is he?
He's 27.
Oh, I thought you just made that up. I guess.
No, he's
But
not watching this.
oh yeah, obviously not. Yeah. but yeah. Um, home run race. Or I was home run race, home run derby, same thing. Have they announced the home run derby yet? I don't even think so.
They've announced a couple names like Mancini's in it,
I know.
Go's, Story's in it.
I know. I heard Tatis didn't want to participate. He wants to
No,
rest his shoulder, which
Otani's in.
I was kind of pissed about that. I really wanted to see him in it, but
Guerrero said he's out, so the Alonso Guerrero thing doesn't happen. They haven't announced the whole roster though. The All-Star rosters are released. Mostly what you'd expect, except voters are dumb and voted Mike Trout as the starter in center field, even though he's only played like 30 games. Cedric Mullins deserved it.
tough.
I could go off about Cedric Mullins, but I'll spare you. Just look up his numbers. He's like top 3 in like every offensive category for the AL.
I know it's tough.
A guy that played Double A in 2020. He got Double A failure.
Okay, it's
Called up and sent back down. Is it going bad again?
yeah. It appears to be fine now, but
Damn. It's huge.
I mean, we did a wrap up here. I mean, there's a couple more things I wanted to talk about, but if it's gonna,
Yeah, if you what else do you have? We can go into
I mean, I wanted to see who I wanted to talk about the All-Star roster a little bit since yeah, we did just bring that up, but I wanted to because I know they announced more guys today, and I didn't. I don't
they
wanna
announced
be,
the full rosters, yeah.
yeah, so I don't know. I haven't really seen much about that. I wanted to check that out. But, I'm gonna pull that up real quick. I'm gonna start with the Padres because I that's the only one I know for sure. Jake Cronenworth made it. I was pretty happy about that. He definitely deserved it.
Oh, he did? That's good.
Yeah, second baseman. Like, not too much production out of second base this year. I mean, Chris Taylor has been going off, but he's also been playing a bunch of positions.
Adam Frazier leading baseball in hits and average.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. I mean, but that's kind of screw the Pirates.
Is Machado an All-Star this year?
No, he was
Really?
he was close, but his OPS is good, but yeah, I don't know, it's
Oh,
not
he was
that
only
much of
at
a snub.
800 OPS. Oh, I guess he's not. He's like having a good year. He's just not like going off.
He's having an okay year. Yeah, for him it needs to be better. But
Machado's career is insane. Like I didn't know how like high of a work count he already had. He's at 43 and he's only like halfway through his career. If he plays at half the level he's played at in his career, he'll be like a guaranteed Hall of Famer.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
I bought 2 of his first Bowman cards the other day. $15 for a lot of 2. That's pretty good.
Really, yeah, that is pretty good.
I might get them graded. They're in pretty good shape. So.
Freaking Manny, man. Yeah, he's a cool player. But about the All Stars, yeah. Oh yeah, I was supposed to pull that up. I pulled up something else on Baseball Savant. But let's see. Was there anyone? Oh yeah, you were hoping for your boy Cedric Mullins. Did he make it finally?
He's in.
Oh, he
He's
just wasn't
in.
a
He just didn't. I
starter.
wanted him to start. Yeah.
over
the guy that
Trout
got more votes was the guy who's injured. So.
or Tate. I mean, it's Mike Trout. Like I
But the
don't
two
like.
guys in the corners were less deserving than Cedric was because like Teoscar Hernandez was the left field starter. Cedric's better
Oh
than him in like every category, and Judge was the right field starter, so he just yankeed his way into
no, Judge is having a really good year.
but
Judge
not the
is
same kind of year as like Mullins.
uh
Like if you haven't been on the Cedric Mullins train, like just look at his baseball reference real quick for this year. It's man's is 5'8", just doing the damn thing. He's an insane defensive center fielder. 916 OPS. OPS plus is 150. This is the guy that, like I said, was demoted to double A in 2019. Former, they're about to give up on him, and he kind of forced his way in there, and he's leading baseball in hits. So got his 100th hit today.
okay, yeah, it's starting to light it in. So I think we should wrap it up here.
Wrap it up. Okay, we can do. I think we'll have one more episode if we do it next week before the All Star break. So we will be able to
Oh yeah, we'll be able to talk more
talk
about
about it
that.
before
Okay,
then.
that's good. Okay. Alright, well, anything else you want to say?
I think I'm good.
Alright.
Thank y'all for voting Cedric Mullins to the All Star game.
Yes, thank you all for voting Jake Cronenworth. And we will see you guys next week, hopefully.